In today's video, we are taking a look at even more of the most disturbing hidden details found in video games. As always, if you think you know of a disturbing hidden detail that I haven't covered in the other 3 disturbing details videos before this one, then let me know in the comments for a chance to be featured in the credits of a future video. Oh, and as you may already know, I really want 2025 to be the year that this channel hits 1 million subscribers. So if you could help me out and subscribe if you haven't already, that would be awesome. Anyway, without further delay, let's get started. Right, let's begin with the coolest disturbing detail in today's video. When World War Z released, I was shocked at just how many zombies could be on screen at once. And seeing the undead build a human pyramid is always impressive. The thing is, there are so many of the undead on screen at once that seeing someone in the crowd that you knew before they became a bloodthirsty zombie is kind of hard. Well, that is, unless someone on your team becomes zombie food. You see, if a member of your team is downed by a zombie, this will happen.
Please! I can't get up!
So your teammate will rise from the dead and begin hunting you down. Now of course, this is disturbing, especially if you liked your AI companion or if it was a friend who is now trying to take a bite out of you. But at the same time, it's also really damn cool. You know, come to think of it, I'm surprised that more zombie games don't feature dead allies coming back as zombies. If you do know of a zombie game that does that, then let me know in the comments. Now, in a previous disturbing details video, we discovered that the exploding zombies in Dead Island 2 would speak to you before going boom. So they would say hi and bye bye, which means that exploding zombies have better manners than 90% of the people that I've ever met. Anyway, the exploding zombies in the first Dead Island aren't so nice, and in fact are actually pretty disturbing. So instead of hellos and goodbyes, the exploding zombie in the first Dead Island simply asks you to help him, which for some reason is so much worse. I must admit, after playing both games pretty much back to back, I prefer the atmosphere of the original Dead Island way more than Dead Island 2. Now, if you've ever played a Fallout game, then you'll know that the world is a pretty messed up place. Pretty much from the get-go. Sure, you can spend some quality time with the family in Fallout 4, but even then that's soon interrupted by a nuclear bomb.
I love you. Both of you.
We love you too.
Oh my god!
Well, despite seeing the damage a nuclear bomb can do firsthand, in the Lonesome Road DLC for Fallout New Vegas, you can launch a nuclear bomb all of your own. Of course, being a Fallout game, you don't have to. But if you do, then the already charred remains of the world become that little bit more charred. To hammer home that it wasn't just land that you were bombing, if you visit one of the places you dropped a nuke, you can find this. So you can find the scorched outline of a person caught in the blast, and on the floor is the remains of that same person. I can't imagine how terrifying it must be knowing that a nuke is coming and you can't do anything about it. Now, the Fears to Fathom games are so scary because they could actually happen. I mean, take episode 3, titled Carson House, as an example. You play as a young kid called Noah who has to house sit for a neighbour. Of course, it's not long until things turn south and you're confronted by a crazy lady looking to introduce her knife to your throat. I mean, if I ever caught someone peeing like this in my house, then I might be annoyed too. Anyway, this lady doesn't just appear out of nowhere. She actually knows Noah, and the pair recently broke up after Kara, that's the lady by the way, became addicted to meth. Well, it appears that Kara, aka Methany, may have been watching Noah much longer than we realised. At the beginning of the game, Noah rides his bike to the grocery store, and it's here we can see this lady leaving with her shopping. Now, I know what you're thinking, what's disturbing about that? Well, nothing actually, but pay attention to the car that she drives away in. Back at the house after a bit of studying, if you look out of the window, you can see a car parked outside that wasn't there earlier, which should look familiar if you were paying attention literally 5 seconds ago. And if we flick through the cameras, you can catch a brief glimpse of a figure walking past the kitchen windows. Now, all of these details are completely missable. The game doesn't draw your attention to them in any way, which makes this even more disturbing. Eventually, you can spot the lady from the supermarket, aka Kara, aka Methany, stalking the halls of the house looking for Noah. Like I said, knowing that the scenarios in Fears to Fathom could actually happen makes the game spooky enough, but the fact that the game then drops loads of hints about what's to come, most of which you'll miss, makes it even worse. Now, I'm sure I'm not alone in being super careful about the quality of food that I eat. Especially meat. If an item is even a day past its best before date, I won't risk it. It's just not worth the trauma that comes from throwing up so hard that you feel like you're going to burst a blood vessel. With that in mind, there is a meat factory in GTA 5 that makes me question anything I've ever eaten ever. During the fresh meat mission, Michael and Franklin find themselves in a meat packing factory, where Michael is about to be turned into literal minced meat. Well, after surviving that ordeal, take a look at some of the boxes found in the factory. Now, it seems that meat is graded based on its quality, with grade B meat being sent to supermarkets, which I assume isn't that bad. Grade C is apparently deli store quality, and to be honest, I thought it would be much lower. Finally, grade E meat is fast food quality meat, which might make you think the next time you order a McDonald's. Now, I know that to some of you, they are just pixels on a screen, but I always take notice when an enemy in a game begs for their life. Of course, we've seen a really cool example of begging enemies in The Last of Us 2, but that was human against a human. What happens if you go face to face with a giant mech? When piloting a Titan in Titanfall 2, the grunts are like tiny ants, scurrying to safety from the giant death machine charging towards them. Well, if you let one of these little guys live, they will do this. So some of them will get angry knowing that the end is near, and others will just slump to the floor in defeat. I mean, be honest, what would you do? Now, I've said before that Ready or Not sees you infiltrating some truly awful places. Now, Ready or Not is a game that sees you infiltrating some truly awful places. See? I did say that. Anyway, the most awful of all these places is a luxury mansion, where some terrible things have been happening. After making your way through the mansion, which belongs to an adult film producer, you can take a look at the basement, and it's here where things get very, very disturbing. In one of the rooms are a bunch of barrels shoved into a makeshift hole. The contents of the barrels are unknown, but sitting on top of some of the other barrels in the room are children's clothes and toys, and it's hard to ignore the sound of buzzing flies hovering nearby. In another room, you can find a shelf full of DVDs, with what looks like names and ages written on them, with some of the ages on the DVDs being as young as 6. Finally, in this room, you can find a picture of a young girl with various phrases that I really don't want to say out loud. Now, I'm sure that I don't need to explain what was going on down here. And there's actually a lot of stuff that I've left out of the video because honestly, I'm not sure YouTube would like it, and I definitely don't like it. But what I will say is, this is one of the only times that I felt dirty after recording something for a video. Now, there are several moments in the Metro games where Artyom has visions. This can often lead to you, the player, trying to work out what's real and what's not. Well, during the Dead City level, Artyom once again starts seeing things, even seeing Anna before he comes to his senses. With that in mind, take a look at this. So in this long abandoned Russian metro tunnel, you can find some sort of creature in a pram, and it's breathing. Like I said, this metro has been abandoned for years, and topside is a wasteland thanks to nuclear war. So what this is and why it's still alive is a mystery. Well, it's a mystery, or it's not real and Artyom is imagining things. I don't know. Still, it's pretty disturbing. Right, let's end today's video with Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, the best thing about Red Dead 2, in my opinion, is stumbling upon a random cabin and piecing together a puzzle through notes and environmental storytelling. And that's exactly what this detail is. At this location on the map, you can find a cabin. Looking inside, the place seems abandoned. That is, until you find this. So these are the bodies of 2 children who were seemingly abandoned. However, if you take a look at a note found nearby, you can see that the mother of the children didn't abandon them at all. Instead, she went to track some men down and get the family's money back. She left 4 days worth of supplies and said that she would return. But these corpses look a lot older than 4 days, and there is still no sign of the mother. So I'm guessing that they never got their money back. If anyone knows more about this story, then please let me know, as I would love to find out who the money-stealing men were. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, then leaving a like is really appreciated. If you are a fan of Easter eggs and secrets in games, then perhaps consider subscribing, as that's what this channel is all about. YouTube seems to think that you'll like the video on screen now, so give that a watch, and as always, I'll speak to you all soon.